tragedy have befallen the Jewish community worldwide. A pro-Palestine far-left radical just murdered two young Jewish diplomats in Washington, D.C. Israelis. Immediately after, he went chanting free Palestine, all proud of himself for doing what he believes is the right thing. What is going on with these pro-Palestine radical students? And we're gonna talk soon about who was the guy and where did he come from. But first, let's watch some of the official videos and statements. Here, this is right after he was apprehended. At the beginning, he was pretending to be
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
idiot. In the beginning, he was pretending to be one of the eyewitnesses, going around telling them, I've seen it, this and that, and later on, it was apprehended that he was the guy, and he was arrested by the security at the event. I think it was outside of a library in Washington, D.C., and they were just coming out from an event. He admitted that he'd done it. He showed them where the weapon was, and then he went on proudly chanting free Palestine. How is it that the far left have become the most radical, dangerous group in the United States, especially students from the far left? If you ask me from the top of my head to tell you right now who are the most dangerous and easily radicalized people in the United States, I will tell you far left students. How did that happen? I don't know what, but actually I think I do know how did that happen. It's called Qatar. It's called Muslim Brotherhood. It's called the pro-Palestine movement, which in my book should be declared as an official terrorist supporting group. Here, I've said it. Stop kicking around the bush. The pro-Palestine movement is undoubtedly full-on terrorist supporting movement. And this is the byproduct of that movement. So let's see some official statements. One is by the chief of police in Washington.
We believe the shooting was committed by a single suspect who is now in custody. Prior to the shooting, the suspect was observed pacing back and forth outside of the museum. He approached a group of 4 people, produced a handgun, and opened fire, striking both of our decedents. After the shooting, the suspect then entered the museum and was detained by event security. Once in handcuffs, the suspect identified where he discarded the weapon, and that weapon has been recovered, and he implied that he committed the offense. The suspect chanted, free Palestine, while in custody. The suspect has been tentatively identified as 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez of Chicago, Illinois. Our MPD case detectives are leading this investigation.
And this is the official statement of the United States government following this horrific attack on the Jewish community in the United States.
Mayor, thank you. Chief, thank you. Ambassador, our hearts go out to you and your staff. I spoke to the President of the United States multiple times tonight on behalf of the President. His prayers are with all of us, all of the Jewish community, everyone in Washington, D.C., state, local, and federal agencies, and our great U.S. Attorney, Jeanine Pirro, who will be prosecuting this case, will be doing everything in our power to keep all citizens safe, especially tonight, our Jewish community.
You want to keep all American citizens safe? Seriously, ban the pro-Palestine movement out of the law. Start deporting any non-American citizen who is supporting this terrorist movement. There's no other way of calling it. They're clearly supporting Hamas. They're clearly supporting the abduction of innocent civilians, including Americans, by the way. They're clearly supporting the people who went and murdered and burned families in their houses. They're calling to destroy America. They're calling to bring down the West, and they're calling to bring intifada revolution into your country. I'm an Israeli. I'm an Arab born in Israel. I served as an officer in the IDF. I was in the special forces. I combated these radicals through my entire life, and I can tell you that intifada revolution is a direct call for chaos, for terrorism, for... We've seen what happened in Intifada in Israel, and that's what they want to bring to your cities. And a direct byproduct of the pro-Palestine Intifada revolution, there is only one solution, yada yada, is this. You're going to have more and more of these young, far-left radicals who are just going to go and wage havoc in your country, and they're going to be proud about it. So yeah, deport them.
Our prayers go out. We have the FBI. All of our federal agencies will work hand in hand with you, Chief, as we have done, and you, Mayor, to do everything we can to keep our citizens safe. We will follow the facts. We will follow the law. And this defendant, if charged, will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
My deepest, sincere condolences to the families of the victim, to the friends that were there with them who witnessed this horrific act. Let's read for you a few of the things that was written by the CNN. 2 Israeli embassy staff members killed outside Jewish museum in Washington, D.C. A suspect in custody after 2 Israeli embassy staff members were killed in a shooting near a Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. The man and woman killed on Wednesday night were a young couple about to be engaged, in the prime of their life. According to the Israeli ambassador of the U.S., the suspect was identified as Elias Rodriguez, 30 years old from Chicago, who chanted "Free, Free Palestine" while in custody, police said, and eyewitnesses told the CNN that the suspect shooter pretended to be a witness and waited for the police to arrive for over 10 minutes before saying he did it for Gaza. So he clearly wanted to make it clear that this is how he supports Gaza, by going and murdering innocent civilians in the street. Now, don't give me this nonsense. Yeah, but what about the innocent people who are being murdered in Gaza? Yeah, it's terrible, any death that is happening in Gaza, but they're not getting murdered. The only one that is murdering people in Gaza is actually Hamas. When you're in a war zone and you use your own people as human shields, when your own people are actually voluntarily using themselves as human shields sometimes, or going and pretending to be civilians and attacking Israelis and attacking the military and trying to prevent Israel from retrieving their hostages, and yes, by default, you're going to have innocent people dying, unfortunately, with a lot of non-innocent people because they're using the innocent people as human shields. So get that through your thick head. That's a different story. If you'll come and tell me a Hamas terrorist and IDF soldiers went and met in the battlefield and they fought, you know what I said? Fair game. He have his ideology, he have his ideology. Both are trained professional. One is a soldier, the other one is a radical jihadist, but still, they're going to fight for different ideologies. That's a different story. But walking in the streets of Washington, D.C. and seeing a young couple who are just about to get engaged and going and shooting them and then proudly chanting "Free, Free Palestine," did this for Gaza, is a despicable murder. He's a lowlife, and anyone like him or that supports him should be notified to the authorities and possibly even deported from the United States. My opinion, I'm not American, but just giving you guys a freebie. It's a very good tip. If you want to keep your civilians safe and your streets clean, get rid of these people. Now let's read a little bit about this perpetrator. Suspect identified, Elias Rodriguez. Elias Rodriguez is 30 years old from Chicago who has most recently worked in osteopathic medicine. He is a graduate of the University of Illinois. Surprise, surprise, a student. Far left student. Why? This is part of his LinkedIn profile before they remove it down. Apparently, he worked as an administrative specialist in Chicago, Illinois, production and logistic coordinator, and oral history researcher. Yeah, Chicago, Illinois, senior content associate and training coordinator, item writer. Elias Rodriguez is an oral history researcher at the History Makers, where he prepares detailed research outline and biographies of accomplished leaders. Let me guess, Arafat and probably Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein, maybe Osama bin Laden. That's probably the figures that the guys like him will consider as leaders. Sinwar. Born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, he holds a BA degree in English from the University of Illinois, Chicago. Prior to joining the History Makers in 2023, he worked as a content writer for commercial and non-commercial firms in the technology space, both national and regionally based. He enjoyed reading and writing fiction. History of Palestine, for example. Live music, film, and exploring new places. He lives in the Avondale neighborhood of Chicago. Do not be fooled. The same people that are trying to murder the Jews are the same people that are trying to murder the Druze in Syria and are the same people that will try to murder the Christians. It's always the same song. First they came for the Shabbat people, then they came to the cross people. Now here's why I think the pro-Palestine movement should be outlawed in every Western society. Because if you look at it at the paper, they are clearly supporting terrorism, they're clearly supporting racism, and at times borderline Nazi ideology. And it's not that rare, by the way. Many pro-Palestine supporters will tell you Hitler was right, we love Hitler. Here, let me show you a video. KKK and the radical Islamists are aligned. There used to be days where people would be ashamed terrified actually from showing that they support Hitler, that they support the KKK, that they are, anti-Semites. But now they're just so proud. I mean, look at her. She seems so happy telling a Jewish person that she supports Hitler, that she wants him and his people being genocide out in the open, in the streets. I mean, trying to read her lips, it's quite hard to see what she's saying, but just insane. So yeah, these are the pro-Palestine demonstrators you're having in the streets. Don't be fooled. It's the incarnation of racism, of Nazism, of radical Islamist behavior. They support that. And just think about it. The fact that they feel comfortable to show these things right now, where clearly they might have consequences. So just imagine how many things they're still a little bit not so comfortable showing you in the streets. What's still behind? What's boiling under the ground? That's why I'm saying it is undoubtedly a terrorist supporting movement, the pro-Palestine movement, and it should be. I'm all for free speech. I love freedom. I think it's a great thing. But freedom comes with a price. It lets people like her, like him, an easy path to abuse freedom and then seek protection under the disguise of freedom. So freedom does need to have very, very wise and strong leaders that know to differentiate. This is not freedom anymore. This is a call for radical terrorism. This is a call for something that want to destroy the society that we've built and want to destroy the values. And to make it simple, always ask yourself, what would happen if I would let these people have their way? So let's say this. What would happen if you would let conservative Americans have their way? I'm not talking radical. I'm talking the people who just want to protect the family core and work hard. You're probably going to have a great America. You're going to have great jobs. You're going to have children growing up with good values, and you're going to have families that are intact, and a lot of psychological issues just eliminated from the fact that you do have a healthy family core in your society. That's what you're going to have if you give these people to run the show. What's going to happen if you're going to let scientists run the show? You're going to have science. You're going to have progress. You're going to have lots of stuff that will make your life probably better and improve the quality of life and for the generations futures to come. What's going to happen if you're going to let pro-Palestinians run the show, have their way? You're going to have your country destroyed. It's going to become like Syria, like Afghanistan, like Lebanon, like Libya, like Iraq. You're going to have women fully covered and degraded to nothing. You're going to have terrorists abusing and taking control of your streets. You're going to have warlords cheating and taking advantage of religion to promote hate and destruction. You're going to have your entire society collapse. That's what's going to happen. So when you put the cards on the table like that, then it's a little bit easier to understand what kind of freedom do you want to promote in your country and what kind of freedom you don't want to promote. And a pro-Palestine Muslim Brotherhood movement is not the kind of movement that you want to promote under the disguise of freedom of speech. It's not. If you don't pay attention, it will destroy your countries. It's done that everywhere. I've done that in Syria, I've done that in Lebanon, I did that. They tried to do that in Jordan, they tried to do that in Egypt, borderline kind of succeeded, some people say. They tried to do it in Iraq, well, they did it in Iraq, did it in Afghanistan, they're doing it right now in Europe, they're doing it in France, they're doing it in Belgium, and they're pretty much succeeding. They're doing that in the UK, and it looks like they're about to succeed. So, whoa, wake up guys and understand who are the good guys, who are the bad guys, and what you should not tolerate in your society. Stay safe. See you next time.